What are some things that successful people do to achieve personal, professional, spiritual goals, whatever the case may be? I have 7 takeaways that you won't want to miss in this video. If you're new to this channel, I'm Ina Cecilia with The Little Way. I mostly share encouragement for wives and mothers, especially homemakers, but if you're here just learning to grow and looking for encouragement in any area of your life, then this channel is for you. Subscribe, hit the like button. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this video. By the way, if you're noticing I'm outside, you're hearing the wind blow through the trees, and my sound quality is a little more natural, that's because I know that done is better than perfect, and I really wanted to share these tips with you. I'm not always going to have the ideal situation, so if this is you, you're looking to inspire others, but you feel like you don't have the optimal studio, or you don't have the most public speaking experience that you wish you had, then just get started. All right, back to my tips. The first thing I noticed that successful people do differently is they practice non-decision making, or should I say decision non-making. What am I even talking about? Successful people do not fixate on the minutia. They recognize that the average person makes, 35,000 or more decisions per day, and I suspect mothers make even more decisions than that. So let's use ice cream for an example. You have chocolate or vanilla. Which do you want for dessert? That is a very obvious decision. But even if you were only given one option, let's say there is only chocolate in your freezer, you still are faced with a decision. Do I want ice cream? Do I not want ice cream? And after doing that so many times throughout the day without even realizing that you're making decisions, you of course inevitably have decision fatigue, which can really exhaust you. It makes you less able to focus on creative endeavors that you have, your dreams and goals that you want to achieve, because you're so tired at the end of the day from all these tiny decisions. That's why I was really fascinated years ago when there was a focus on Steve Jobs and all of these multi-billion-dollar entrepreneurs who had a uniform. They only wore one thing because they didn't want to fixate on their appearance and having to decide, do I want to wear a tie today? Do I want to wear a t-shirt today? And that is applicable to everybody. Where in your life are you making decisions that don't need to be decisions? I love beautifully painted rooms, but the paint aisle at the hardware store is frustrating to me because 10 different colors I didn't know existed, I now have to choose for my home. So if you're like me, cut out decisions that are unnecessary so that you can focus all of your energy on what matters to you. The second thing I notice successful people do is they are always looking to improve and grow, even if it hurts. I will use YouTube as an example. I am a new content creator, and it sometimes hurts my feelings to read comments that don't praise what I'm doing, that disagree with a manner in which I operate in my kitchen, or if someone just wants to share the blunt, honest truth. But I'll tell you what, I am learning and growing every single day. When I read those comments, I cry my tears and then I move on, because there have been circumstances in your life, and I know in my life, where someone said something that was painful, but it was true. And if they had never said anything, I would have gone through my whole life thinking that I was so amazing and that I didn't need to ever grow or learn anything from anyone. So successful people don't view that as a stopping point. They take that criticism and they see how valid it is. They see if they can make that adjustment and if it will benefit them in the long run, and they keep fighting, they keep going. And I've seen really successful people go back later and thank the people who gave them that feedback, gave them that tough love, because it ultimately made them stronger and made them better. Another observation I have made about successful people is they constantly revisit their goals. First of all, do you have goals? Do you know what they are? I'm not gonna go down some rabbit trail about SMART goals. You are welcome to look it up. There's so many great resources on Google, but it basically outlines every letter of the word SMART, S-M-A-R-T, is an acronym for something you should consider when you're making a goal. Is it specific? Is it measurable? Are you bound by time, or do you have an endless amount of time to complete that goal? It could go on forever and ever and ever for the next 50 years, and you aren't held accountable to finish. The reason that successful people revisit their goals is because that you have average people or regular people, everybody, who set a goal. And then they may take the next steps to outline the step by step of what is needed to accomplish that goal. But then they hit a roadblock. They hit a point in that process where maybe they get sick, maybe they get burnt out, maybe they lose steam for whatever reason, perhaps they get a little bit lazy, and then they don't achieve the goal. Whereas people who are persistent, they are motivated to achieve whatever it is they desire. They do all the same things. They set their goal, they take the necessary steps, and when they reach a hurdle, when they reach a roadblock, they don't stop. They keep going, and you have to revisit your goals every once in a while to know if that even happens to you. Maybe you're oblivious. Maybe you don't even realize that when you went on vacation, you completely put all of your goals to the side and then moved on to something new and shiny. So it's important for you, if you want to be successful, to revisit your goals wherever it is. Write it down, set a calendar reminder. Maybe you revisit it every month, maybe you revisit it every year, maybe even every day, just to remind you, hey, you don't want to get lazy today. You want to make sure you stay on track. Because it's easy to set goals and then time goes by, and if you never look at them again, you may go back and realize, I set a goal a long time ago. Whatever happened to that? I think it's also insightful to revisit your goals, because if you have a pattern of not accomplishing something you set out to do, it is telling about how much you follow through, which I'll get into later. And it really wakes you up to look at, where did I stop? Where did I decide this was no longer a priority? Where did I lose steam? Before I move on to my next step, my next observation, I just wanted to pause here and tell you some exciting news. I have several masterclasses coming up, one in the space of laid back labor. If you are pregnant and you want to give birth naturally, there's going to be a masterclass for you. If you are in the postpartum season, even if you haven't had babies for 20-25 years, yes, you are still postpartum, I have a masterclass for you. It is a postpartum success masterclass, and then it will all segue into an exciting new course that I am offering in 2025. You won't want to miss it. Okay, back to my observations about successful people. What does it take to be successful? The next thing I've noticed that successful people do is they identify their core beliefs and they ensure that their actions align with those core beliefs. Let me give you an example. Let's say it is so important to you, it is one of your biggest values, that family comes first, but you work for an employer where you put in 90, 100, a billion hours a week, and it is so difficult for you to ask for time off for your daughter's ballet recital, for your son's baseball game. That clearly does not align with your values. So how long can you go working for an employer like that? You won't be successful in that field, in that career, if you are supporting a corporation or an agency that does not align with something that is your core value. Now, some people do work for an agency or an organization that doesn't necessarily align with all their core values. That's not what I'm talking about. But maybe they make a lot of money and it is their core value to achieve certain things in their life, like travel is a core value, or paying off their home has to do, that feeling of financial freedom is a core value. So they're willing to put in the time to really grind out in the next few years in order to achieve whatever it is they're trying to achieve. So I want you to consider your short term and your long term. If you are working someplace or your day-to-day does not align with your core values, then what small changes can you make to your day-to-day? If you're long-term, if you have been with an employer and you're just there for the benefits, yes, that's a core value, but how long is it going to be before you no longer care about the benefits? Before you realize you're just putting in all of your time and energy someplace that does not align with everything you stand for, with what you really care about. Successful people continue to be successful because they recognize what is most important to them, and on days where they feel lazy, they feel tired, they want to give up, they know what their big why is. So all of those tiny things that try to bog them down don't even matter in the long run. They are very clear on their core values, and you should be too. I kind of feel like I'm yelling at the camera, so leave me a comment if you think I'm getting really intense and yelling at the camera. I just get really passionate and excited about this topic. All right, here we go. The next observation I have made about successful people is they do it scared. Whatever it is they're doing, they're setting a goal, they're trying to achieve something, they do it scared, they prepare to fail. So I'm not saying that if you are like me and you are very risk averse, you're very calculated, taking baby steps is fine. I'm not saying that you should just completely switch gears and go full extreme and put all your eggs in one basket, make these big gambles in your life, and that you should put yourself in positions that will risk whether or not your family can eat tonight. That's not what I'm saying. But successful people, they will not tell you while they are trying to achieve success how scared they are. It is only after they have achieved great success that they go back and they tell people in motivational speeches or when they're coaching others, when they are asked, how did you get here? Tell us about the journey. That's when they reveal that they were petrified. So I think it's a normal part of the process because it's new. It is something that maybe you have never done before. Or you'll even hear people who are successful tell you that they are still scared. They are still worried about the next endeavor, whether or not they are going to make mistakes that will ruin their whole business, their whole career, their whole lives. Or they're scared that they're gonna lose everything, that this is all a dream, and that one day it's just going to disappear. So successful people realize that, and they do it anyway, because they know that if they work hard, if they look at every situation as a learning experience, then they can't go wrong, because they will pick themselves back up. So I'm encouraging you, if you feel scared, do it anyway, because a year from now, that was a gift to your future self. You can look back and say, I'm so glad I did it. I was really stupid. I made a bunch of mistakes, but now I know, and now I'm really glad that I did something instead of just sitting there wondering if I would ever achieve the success that I really wanted to achieve. The sixth observation I have made of successful people, I talked about a little bit earlier when I talked about setting goals. Successful people follow through. They do what they say they're going to do. They take action and they complete a task they said they were going to complete. So you'll hear me say over and over and over again, ad nauseum, that done is better than perfect, because I really believe that. Especially when I became a mom, I knew I wouldn't be able to complete everything perfectly. It was better that I tried, that I submitted something, because half the time people didn't even notice that I made mistakes, or they would not have never known what perfect was going to look like anyhow. Successful people recognize that it's never going to be perfect. That if you try to achieve perfection, you will have a bunch of projects all over the place that were never completed. And then what do you have to show for yourself? Instead, successful people realize that part of the whole idea of success is that you said, done, completed to something. Boom, you're a success. You can say, here's what I did. And that can be small things or they can be great things. And I think the whole takeaway from this is when you accomplish, when you finish small things, you start to feel that adrenaline, that high, that rush of saying, I said I was going to do something and I did it. Now what more can I do? It starts to snowball and it feels so good that you want to do even more. Before I get into my last observation, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already, because I have so much more motivational content, both as voiceovers in my homemaking and like this. I'm hearing a lot of people say that they really enjoy me talking to the camera, and I want to be able to share that personal, that intimate side of me to help encourage you to know that I'm just like you. I'm just trying to figure all this out and give you a smile and a hug through my videos. Okay, the last observation I have made of successful people is they have no shortage of generosity of spirit. They are grateful and thankful in everything they do. They thank everyone they meet, whether it is your neighbor, it is someone who let you go ahead of them in line at the grocery store, it is your colleague who got something from the printer for you. Successful people know they didn't get to where they are today without the help of people very close to them and complete strangers, customers you'll never meet, people watching your YouTube videos, you name it. So in order to be successful, you have to recognize that you are not an island and that you need people in order to foster this community and for you to achieve your greatest potential, for you to give your God-given talents and gifts to the world. You have to do it with others, because then you're just doing it for yourself, and you can only gain so much from just doing things for yourself. If you're doing it for the greater glory of God, to serve your community, to serve those around you, to show love in that way, then that is the most gratifying way to achieve success. I want to hear from you. If there is a topic you would like me to discuss that is related to homemaking encouragement, being a Catholic wife and mother, or anything that is on your mind, please feel free to share that in a comment. I also want to hear if there was a success that you achieved, if you resonated with any of these observations that I made, you noticed them in someone in your life, please share that below, and I will see you in the next video.